On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, all hostilities ceased to end the war to end all wars. It's at that pivotal hour annually that we as a nation take the time to recognize the sacrifices, for many the ultimate one, that allow all of us to enjoy the freedoms those sacrifices have wrought. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Rogers TV's coverage of Remembrance Day ceremonies at the Cenotaph, located at the Royal Canadian Legion Branch 632 in Orleans. I'm Dan Mooney, alongside Legion President Comrade Jim Ferguson. And Jim, thank you for allowing us to be here today. This day is an opportunity for all Canadians to reflect on the efforts of those that have gone before, in the hope that all conflict will end. It's also a chance to recognize the contributions of those that fought in the First and Second World Wars, Korea, the Gulf War, and Afghanistan. How important is this day for you good folks out here in Orleans?
Well, as always, on November 11th, we always remember our fallen comrades from all of the actions that you explained, but we're also here to pay tribute to those still serving. A big part of the Legion is to support those troops that have come back from Afghanistan with injuries, with PTSD, and again, on a day like today, we not only honor the fallen, but the comrades that are still serving.
Indeed, these parade of active and retired serving members of the Canadian Forces has grown steadily over the years, Jim, to the point where this ceremony out in Orleans, although not nearly as well attended as the national ceremony down at the National War Memorial, has grown in leaps and bounds over the last few years, hasn't it?
It definitely has. We used to have hundreds of people show up, and in the last few years we have anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 people from the community showing up here on the lawn to show their respect for our fallen comrades and those serving.
And it's people of all ages and all levels of service that use this day as a vehicle to not only allow people to know what has transpired in the past, but what they're doing and how they're going to have an impact with the Canadian forces and as Canadians abroad.
Exactly, and that's why today, if you notice, we have a large contingent of Air Cadets and Army Cadets, and they are the members of the future. And these young people are excellent. They're out there putting up chairs, helping us set up. They help with our breakfast. They are our resources for the future.
Orleans Branch 632, established about 20 years ago. Things have grown exponentially out here, and you see a lot of the veterans that come here regularly, Jim, and you know them all quite well as their president. How important is this day to this branch?
It's very important, and you said our veterans growing exponentially. It is a fact. This year at Christmas and for the past 2 years, we do visits to retirement homes at Christmas, and we spent this year 500 people were visited, and for the last 3 years it's 500 per year of veterans and spouses in 13 retirement homes here in the Orleans area.
The veterans that have served in World War II are becoming fewer and fewer on a daily basis. How important is it to illustrate this legacy on an annual basis so that generations that follow are made aware of those tremendous sacrifices made by so many before them?
We cannot understate how important it is. We had our Remembrance dinner last Saturday, and lo and behold, we had 2 World War I or World War II vets in attendance. In years past, we'd have 20. It just showed us how they are dying off when we have 2 members out of almost 900 in the branch. They are definitely disappearing. They left us a legacy to carry on with the Legion, with our charitable organizations. They are the ones that started this, and we owe them a lot of respect for doing that.
Do you believe it's the responsibility of generations to continue this, because the guys that served and kept the memory alive for so many years are not around anymore.
Definitely, without the input from the community and the assistance, yes, the people have to realize that to honor our vets has to be kept up. If you let it go, it will die out, and those that gave their life and sacrifice will be forgotten very fast. So November 11th is very important to the young people and the community.
It is a very, very cold, blustery day out here in Orleans with the snow falling and the gray skies. It is perhaps appropriate that the weather has turned in the way it has, because it reflects a very, very somber occasion, which this is.
Well, speaking to past military people and present military people earlier today, this reminds us of years ago when pretty well all the time on November 11th we had snowstorms, rainstorms, but they disappeared for a few years.
So let's go down to the podium level where Therese Landry will act as our MC. How was it? You okay with that? So we're done for now, right? Pretty much, right? Well, can you get program on?
Order, color. And that's easy. And easy. Three, one, ten, good. Order party, carry colors.
In Flanders Fields by John McCrae. In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow, between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the larks still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amongst the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, felt dawn, saw sunsets glow, loved, and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Field. Take up our quarrel with the foe. To you, from flailing hands we throw the torch. Be yours to hold it high. If ye break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields.
Ceci est adaptation française par M. Parizeau qui a traduit. Et alors, voilà, au chant d'honneur. Au chant d'honneur, les coquelicots sont parsemés de lot en lot auprès des croix. Et dans l'espace, les alouettes devenues lasses mêlent leur chant au sifflement des obusiers. Nous sommes morts, nous qui songions la veille encore, à nos parents, à nos amis. C'est nous qui reposons ici au champ d'honneur. À vous, jeunes désabusés, à vous de porter leur flamme et de garder au fond de l'âme le goût de vivre en liberté. Acceptez le défi, sinon les coquelicots se faneront au champ d'honneur.
They shall not grow old, as we that are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the coming down of the sun, and in the morning, we will remember them. We will remember them.
Ils ne vieilliront pas comme nous leur avons survécu. Ils ne connaîtront jamais l'outrage, l'inpoids des années. Quand viendra l'heure du crépuscule et celle de l'aurore, nous nous souviendrons d'eux. Nous nous souviendrons d'eux.
The laying of the wreaths, you ready? Oh, no. National anthem.
Red, attention! Party, carry colors.
I lift up my eyes to the mountains. Where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, the maker of heaven and earth.
Je lève les yeux vers les montagnes. D'où le secours me viendra-t-il? Le secours me vient du Seigneur, l'auteur des cieux et de la terre.
Hear my cry, O God. From the ends of the earth I call to you. I call as my heart grows faint. Lead me to the rock that is higher than I. For you have been my refuge, a strong tower against the foe. I long to dwell in your tent forever and take refuge in the shelter of your wings.
Ô Dieu, écoute mes cris, sois attentif à ma prière. Du bout de la terre, je fais appel à toi quand le cœur me manque. Sur le rocher trop élevé pour moi, tu me conduiras, car tu es pour moi un refuge, un bastion face à l'ennemi. Je voudrais être reçu sous ta tente pour des siècles et m'y réfugier, caché sous tes ailes.
The Gospel. Greater love has no one than this, than a man lay down his life for his friends.
Nul n'a d'amour plus grand que celui qui donne sa vie pour ceux et celles qu'il aime.
Almighty God, Creator and Sustainer, whose love enfolds us in both life and death. We gather today after our thanks and remember with gratitude all those who sacrificed their lives in the cause of peace and justice in the world. On silent lips and from our hearts, we call out their names to you. Keep us loyal to their memory, true to their example. Give us grace to follow them in spirit of self-sacrifice and service. Help us not to falter as we lift high the torch of freedom that has been entrusted to our care. We thank you for the peace we enjoy here in Canada and for the opportunity that is ours to build a better future because of unselfish sacrifice of thousands of brave and gallant heroes. Eternal God, we commend to your compassionate care all of those bodies suffer and whose minds are haunted by the horrors of war. Watch over the families and members of the Canadian Armed Forces on land, sea, and air, who with our allies who bravely battle against the forces of tyranny and oppression in the world. O God of mercy, bring them home safely to their family and friends. Be with the rulers of this world and all of the world's citizens, that we may learn to live the way of peace with justice. Loving God, hear our cries for peace on earth, for we have offered them to you in faith, confident in your eternal love.
Dieu Tout-Puissant, Créateur et soutien, dont l'amour nous enveloppe dans la vie comme dans la mort, nous sommes réunis aujourd'hui pour t'offrir nos remerciements et pour nous rappeler avec reconnaissance ceux et celles qui ont sacrifié leur vie pour préserver la paix et la justice dans le monde. En silence et du plus profond de nos cœurs, nous te rappelons leur nom. Garde-nous, Seigneur, de ne jamais oublier l'exemple qu'ils nous ont donné et, fidèle à cet exemple, donne-nous la grâce de les imiter dans cet esprit de sacrifice et de service. Aide-nous à porter avec honneur ce flambeau de liberté qu'ils nous ont si fièrement transmis. Nous te remercions pour la paix dont nous jouissons ici au Canada et pour l'opportunité que nous avons de bâtir un meilleur avenir grâce au sacrifice de milliers de braves et galants héros. Dieu éternel, nous te confions tous ceux et celles qui souffrent dans leur corps et dans leurs esprits des horreurs de la guerre. Veille sur les familles et les membres des forces canadiennes sur la terre, en mer et dans l'air, qui, avec nos alliés, lutte bravement contre les forces de la tyrannie et de l'oppression. Ô Dieu de miséricorde, ramène-les sains et saufs auprès de leurs familles et de leurs amis. Sois présent aux dirigeants et aux citoyens de ce monde, afin qu'ils apprennent à vivre selon les voies de la paix et de la justice. Dieu d'amour, entends nos cris pour la paix sur terre, car nous te les avons offerts dans la foi, confiants en ton éternel amour. Amen.
Vince! Bennett! East! Vince! J!
We are now going to do the laying of the wreaths. Nous allons maintenant déposer les couronnes. Le premier, c'est the Governor of Canada. The first one is the Governor of Canada, le gouverneur du Canada, Royal Galipo, Member of Parliament, député fédéral d'Ottawa-d'Orléans.
Royal Galipo, the Member of Parliament for this area, representing Ottawa Orleans, getting set to lay the wreath representing the Government of Canada. The cenotaph is rather unique here, isn't it, Jim? Wonderful, wonderful place and a wonderful representation of the sacrifices made by men and women over the last
Maire du
100
Canada,
years.
Barbara John, whose son is serving with the Canadian Force and is the veteran of Afghanistan.
Yes, the cenotaph is unique. When you look at the cenotaph, many people ask me, what is it? Is it church steeple or is it a shell? That's in the eye of the beholder. If you look at the cutout, that's a veteran that has passed away. He's looking down on two serving members, protecting them. The two serving members, both male and female, signify that both men and women gave up their lives
La
for
province
their country.
d'Ontario,
They are looking
Phil
out,
McNeely,
which means
member
those people
of
in the
the
military
provincial
are
parliament,
looking to the future, and they're holding hands, hoping that the future brings peace.
Barbara Johns, representing all mothers of Canada, laid a wreath. Her son serves with the Canadian Forces and is a veteran of Afghanistan. Phil McNeely, a member of provincial parliament, representing Ottawa Orleans, and Sean Colbin, and now Bob Manette, the city councillor here in Cumberland and Orleans, will mark the contributions of the municipal government.
the Canadian Armed Forces, les Forces Armées Canadiennes, Lieutenant General Marquis Haynes.
The Canadian Armed Forces represented by Lieutenant General Marquis Haynes.
Combat Engineer Regiment, Major Kelly and CWO Kletke.
Chief Warrant Officer Kletke, Major Kelly from the 33rd Combat Engineer Regiment. Next, the significance of their contribution in this particular ceremony.
Again, we support the combat engineers who have a building directly across the road. After their parades, they use our building to have a little fun, a little bit of pool, have some pizza, and enjoy themselves. We look forward to having them over here all the time.
Representing the Royal Canadian Legion,
President is laying the wreath. We would ask you to say a prayer for the branch member who have passed away this year. May they rest in peace. Jim Armit, Frank Brother, Fraser Brown, Guy Fortier, Brian Lean, Jerome Morel, Willie Ouellet, Marcel Ploud, Eric Rupp, and Louise Woods.
Wreath representing the Legion members
Branch
here,
632,
Branch 632.
Ladies Auxiliary, President Wendy Fortier. While the president is laying the wreath, we would ask that you say a prayer for the Ladies Auxiliary member who have passed away this year. May they rest in peace. Louise Woods and Pat Gould.
How are Legion numbers doing at Branch 632? We just recognized some that have passed over the last year. Is membership growing now with the grandfathering clause that's been instituted?
It is, and for some reason this year our Legion is growing, which really surprised us. We are getting a lot of new members transferred in from the downtown core and from the growing community of Orleans. As a matter of fact, in the last 3 months, we've had 46 new members join up, and we have 15 new members to get initiated. So we're doing very well in membership.
Chief Superintendent Michel Aubin of the RCMP, and having grown up in an RCMP family, I've seen the red surge a million times, but it doesn't seem to be any less impressive.
Never. The RCMP have always supported us here, and if you notice, it is the RCMP Pipe and Drum Band that plays every year for us.
And
That's the reason why they serve.
Superintendent Dan Delaney.
Superintendent Dan Delaney on the left, representing the Ottawa Police Service.
City of Ottawa firefighters, Pompiers de la Ville d'Ottawa, Deputy Chief Crenide.
The Ottawa Fire Department, all first responders certainly recognized in this ceremony.
They definitely are.
Youth of Canada, Jeunesse du Canada, Scout, Jordan Toll, Guide, Jasmine Simon, Brownies, 13 Orleans Brownies, Army Cadet, Sergeant Emilie Bennett and Sergeant Carl Holm, Air Cadet Sergeant Sarah Cormack and Sergeant Charles Noel.
These people representing the youth of Canada, Jim, and how this is so important that that young people get into the, not necessarily the habit, but the routine of recognizing the contributions of generations that have come before them.
Exactly. You had asked me before about how we treat the youth. If you notice, we have representatives from every youth group. And again, whatever we can do for these youth groups, whether it's through our Nevada funds, not our Poppy funds, or branch funds, we try to support as many of these organizations as we can.
Ed Timpson now representing the veterans of Canada, and here comes Ed. And Ed is performing his ceremonial duty and very, very proud
He
to
certainly
do
is.
this.
Ed is one of our World War II veterans with a unique career. He served in the RAF, the New Zealand Air Force, and the RCAF.
Hong Kong
In all
veteran
three.
Dr. Paul
And
Conrad.
Ed is here on every function, and we really fell in love with the old gentleman.
Korean War veteran Comrade Errol Patrick.
Errol Patrick representing members who served during the Korean conflict, 1950 through 1953.
Veteran of Afghanistan, Captain Kirkpatrick, Afghanistan veteran.
Captain Kirkpatrick veteran of Afghanistan.
Princess Louise Dragon Guard, Peter Stephen in memory of Guy Fortier.
This day not only important for the families of people who have lost their lives giving the ultimate sacrifice for their country, it's also an opportunity to
RCMP
recognize
Veteran
the members of the
Association,
Canadian
John Thomas.
Armed Forces that are serving today and continue to serve around the world.
Exactly. As the Legion grows, we spend a lot more time with the veterans that are still serving. 'Cause there again, they deserve our praise, our support, and any help we can give them.
Petty Officer John Daly and Sergeant Wes Han.
Wreath laying ceremonies continue. Should be the dental.
Royal Canadian Dental Corps Association, Brigadier General retired F. Béguin, and Lieutenant Colonel Bud Budskin, Zink.
Brigadier General Bégin and Lieutenant Colonel Bud Budzinski, both retired.
Royal Canadian Naval Service, Betty Ringrose.
And one of the ends of the service that tends to get overlooked very, very often is the contribution made by women in not only the First World War, Second World War, and all of the conflicts that the Canadian military has been involved in.
Exactly, and that's why our cenotaph represents both male and female. And that's why in this branch and all branches, it's very important to have a ladies' auxiliary who really help us out in the branch with breakfasts. They do tremendous work. Without the ladies, we would definitely have a hard time putting on functions. Yes, we have a lot of serving retired members, females, but we also have a lot of females that are just associate members.
In memory of Sergeant J.W. Ross Howell, Diane Howell. In memory of Robert St. Louis, Ray and Janine St. Louis. In memory of Bill Toom, Monica Toom. In memory of Harold Jackson, Wendy Fortier, and Betty Jackson. In memory of Constable Adrian Oliver, Brad Brothers. Knights of the Round Table, Master Corporal John Donnelly. In memory of member who passed away this year, Conrad John McDonald.
These
In
wreaths are
memory
being
of
laid
Bill
for
and Mary Clover,
those who
Jim Clover.
passed away over the last year. They represent deceased veterans who have passed away, and although your
next
Legion
group
numbers
consists
continue to
of
grow,
service
Jim, you're
club
losing
senior
members more and more on an annual basis.
Particularly veteran members. One of the hardest jobs that we undertake here is doing tributes to past service members. In my first year in office, I think I did 7 tributes at the Pearly Retirement Home for past service members that have passed away. No association with the Legion, but all veterans deserve a memorial tribute in honor of what they did for the country.
This group, next group consists of service clubs and seniors group. There'll be the Falcons Motorcycle Club, Knights of Columbus, local service groups will be involved in this next category, and
Knights of
it's
Columbus.
just wonderful
Bishop Behan,
that everybody wants to be involved and a part of this ceremony.
Exactly. That's why we're so proud here. If you notice what you just said, the community really gets behind us. The Knights of Columbus, the Knights of the Round Table, the Falcons, that's the retired military motorcycle club, the seniors who use our branch come out and support us, the Anglican churches, the retirement homes. It's a real pleasure to see these people here
Seniors
honoring our dead.
clubs, St. Helens Anglican Church is here, representative Portobello Manor. Local businesses are here as well.
Exactly.
And Marlene Clover. Saint Helene Anglican Church, Reverend Peter Lackey, and Venerable Susan Church Lackey. Portobello Manor, Giselle Duveau. And Walmart, Colleen Craig.
Now, members of the public are going to be invited to place some wreaths as well, which is not something that you usually see at these ceremonies.
Well, it's come forward here that so many people want to lay wreaths, and if you've seen our list, which we just went through, it became so hard, so now at the end we allow any member of the community to come in and lay a wreath on behalf of whoever, military or non-military, that has passed away in the last year, and we have a lot of wreaths going up very shortly.
Is this something people have to apply to do, Jim?
Yes, they have to come in and ask us. We will purchase the wreath on their behalf, have it here with the name on it. We give it to the people so they can lay it at the cenotaph.
It's a very reflective day, and what sense do you get, Jim, when the ceremonies are completed and all of the work that is necessary to put this particular day together is done? What kind of feeling pervades all of the volunteers that work so hard to make sure that this day is as perfect as it possibly can be?
I think every one of us are on pins and needles for days because this is so important to every one of us that once it's over, there is a sigh of relief. But for the rest of the day and for the rest of the year, we never stop remembering those people that have passed away, those still serving. This day means everything to Legions. Remember that November the 11th is our National Day of Mourning, and we truly appreciate being able to participate.
Welcome to come forward and lay wreaths. Those with wreaths in the wreath laying area, go there first. If you brought your own wreath, proceed directly to the wreath laying area. Conrad Bud Dion will dispatch you to the monument from here. If you do not wish to come forward at this time, please feel free to come forward after the parade departs.
An effort to get everybody involved. Anybody that wants to participate is certainly given the opportunity to participate and remember and give thanks for all of the sacrifices that have been made in the past with regard to our armed services and the contributions that they've made representing Canada all around the
Place of
world.
worship in Orleans, l'Église d'Orléans, Pastor Major Don Collar, Deacon Bill Regler, and Deacon Andre Faux.
The snow has abated a little bit, but there's still a reasonably brisk wind out there that is making it reasonably difficult to stand out there and brave the elements. But the people out here in Orleans are doing remarkably well, and you know that they're going to be out here for the duration, just in deference and respect to those who who are in uniform here and those who have served in the past.
Definitely. These
Now
people
go in
stay until
peace.
the end. And it's to watch some of the older people stand there in the cold till it's over. It just strikes the chords of our heart.
And may the God of peace be with you all. Amen.
Maintenant, allez en paix dans le monde, soyez braves, retenez ce qui est bon et que le Dieu de la paix soit avec vous. Amen.
God save the Queen.
Green, hot hand, good. Color party, carry colors. Her. Control, sir. Drum major, take up your position. Color party, prepare to march up. Color party, left turn.
As the parade will conclude the Remembrance Day ceremonies here at Royal Canadian Legion Branch 632
Right wheel, quick, march.
in Orleans.
Wheel. Hold. A group. Left wheel, quick, march. Hold. Color party, quick, march. Right! Right and left, turn! Eyes the right, quick, march. Number one company leading. By the right, feet, right! Number one guard, left, go!
Veterans making their way out of the parade ground now and marching so proudly. Getting a well-deserved round of applause here for the sacrifices that they've made and the lives that they've led. Active members of the Canadian Armed Forces. More active members of the Canadian military. From the 33rd Field Regiment directly across the street here, Jim.
directly across. And if you look out to your left, the reviewing stand is there. And Lieutenant General Haynes, the Chief of the Army, our reviewing officer, will take the salute today.
Parade continues now with
The Air Cadets.
Air Cadets are directly in front of us. On our picture, you see the Ottawa Police colors, and
Veterans.
you got it. This is their day. Very proud moment for these veterans. 70 years ago, they marched in parades in villages across Europe as part of liberation parades.
Under much worse conditions than we're experiencing today.
Yes. This is the veterans' moment. Good crowd on hand, and they're the cadets representing the youth of Canada. The military, and as people begin to collect around the cenotaph and lay the poppies down. And it's very traditional, Jim, that this began with the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
And even before then, and it kind of went out of vogue. But at one time, when I first joined, and I joined the Legion back in the 60s, after every November 11th, we'd have to go to the cenotaph, remove our poppy, and leave it there. But nowadays, people put it on. But as a veteran of 32 years, now that the ceremony's over, my poppy comes off, and I will put it in the garbage so I can buy a new one next year or obtain one. We do not sell poppies, we distribute poppies.
Everybody lining up to seemingly do exactly that and lay their poppy, and it's become more an act of thanks more than anything else, or a gesture of thanks to the veterans of this country by Canadians, that they support the veterans and they support the good work done at all the legions for the veterans by getting the poppies distributed to them, and then they wear them. And this is Canadians' way of saying thank you for the sacrifices, for the service, by leaving their poppy at the cenotaph following the ceremony.
And with the crowd we have here, our community, everybody will now come back into the hall where they'll be given sandwiches, soups, something to drink. All of the food has been donated by Legion members and members of the community. We do not buy the food. People come in and drop off trays of sandwiches, cheese, crackers. Everybody will get a snack after the ceremony, thanks to the generosity of the community and the Legion members.
This particular ceremony never gets tired, and there's a wonderful picture right there, Jim, of a young man with a serving member of the military, maybe his dad, with a poppy in hand. His dad has the poppy, and this is something that they do collectively and as a family, which solidifies it even more. And perhaps one day, not in the too distant future, that young man will have his son with him and placing the poppy on November 11th.
Exactly. If you notice the wreath laying order, we had Mr. Errol Patrick, who was Army in Korea, laying the Korean wreath. His son, Kirk, laid the one from Afghanistan. So we have father and son laying wreaths, both of them having served in conflict. It's nice, it's unique, and we appreciate both of them doing that.
Yeah, you say unique. I mean, how often does that happen?
Not
in the
very
same
often.
Legion branch.
In the same Legion branch, both members.
Now, this is a big day for this particular branch, this particular Legion branch, and Legion branches all across the country, Jim, really gear up for this. When it's all said and done, what does this day really mean to, I suppose, the lifeblood of a Legion? Because a lot of the Legions have gone through some rather difficult economic times over the few years, losing members and not being able to keep their clubs or keep their Legion branches going. How important is this day for this branch?
Very important. To have a day like this with so many in attendance, it makes the community realize how important this is, and you're right. By doing this, we attract attention, we attract more people. Unlike some branches that are going downhill, and I think that's terrible, by staying active in the community, holding a parade which takes a long time, shows the community that we still remember our veterans and allow them to participate. And it helps the Legions grow by doing this.
Well, just on behalf of all of us at Rogers TV, Jim, we want to thank you for allowing us to be part of this ceremony today, and continued success with all of your endeavors here at Branch 632 in Orleans.
And thank you, Rogers TV, for being here and your support again with this on the air. Definitely will have a benefit to the branch. Thank you very much.
For Jim Ferguson and our entire Rogers TV crew, I'm Dan Mooney. Thank you so much for the company today. Thank a veteran.